but it's a way for you to keep growing, transforming. Said that word earlier. Optimus Prime's 18-wheeler, right? You've seen the movies Transformers, everybody. I'm sure y'all have seen at least one of them. He's 18-wheeler. He can drive along the road. When it's time for him to fight, he transforms. Guess what? He don't earn no new parts. All he does is repurposes the parts that's already on him. The headlights turn into eyes. The grill sits in his chest. You know what I'm saying? His axles turn into on. Everything is already there. And that's one of the main things I want people. I'm always talking to people about. Everything you need to do these things, to get through these stages, is right there in the mirror.
I tried to leave it alone, but I just couldn't do it. Don't want much back on the loan, just what I put into it. It took a step to begin, now I'm a foot into it. They say it starts from within, I had to look into it. Now I'm illuminated, a whole book into it. Jumped in the water with greatness and set my hooks into it. Me and the man in the mirror was all it took to do it. And life's window is clear now when I'm looking through it.
I got two phones now. So I got a phone sitting up on a laptop, and I'm actually using my camera. Now I got my other new phone over here because I'm going to get all this good content. Anyway, some things don't need to sit for too long. If you like Chick-fil-A fries, the one thing you know about Chick-fil-A fries is they can't sit for 10 minutes because they're going to turn into cardboard fries. Guarantee you that. So Chick-fil-A fries can't sit for too long. McDonald's fries, you try to eat them as soon as they pass you that brown paper bag, you're going to burn the top of the roof of your mouth off. Hey, those fries need to sit for a little bit.
Yeah.
So some things I need to sit in just for a little bit, and some things I'm like, hey, I actually need to go ahead and dive into this right away. So diving into it right away will be Courtney called me and said, hey, I'm about to go punch my boss in his mouth. And I say, hey, man, I think you need to go sit on that for a little bit. I don't think Courtney needs to sit on that. I need to be talking about that. I needed to eat those fries right away. We need to eat that right away, bro.
Yeah.
But another situation can be, man, let's say I just got out of a heated conversation with my wife, one of my good friends, and I know I'm about to go talk to one of my kids about something that happened at school today, maybe in the classroom. So I probably need to sit for a little bit.
Yeah.
It'd be 5-10 minutes. No, McDonald's fries. Sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then I go in there to go have that conversation with my kid. Or then I go in there to go have that conversation with my colleague or whoever that may be. So as my grandmother used to always say, timing is everything. It's the difference between the cake being moist and being dry. 3 minutes under, that cake gonna fall through. 5 minutes too long, you might as well have been baking rocks in there, man. So some things need to sit and rest for a little bit, and some things you just need to really go into and go deal with. And the importance is being able to process and think about before you get ready to go into it for a little bit, for a moment. But a lot of power, man, comes with just sitting and resting for a little bit. And then, you know, at times, certain situations, you got to go into it. You may have to go into it.
Yeah. And then there's sometimes some stuff that you let rest, you got to bring it back out, right? And for those fries, some of them you might be able to put in the microwave. I don't like mine in the microwave. So you microwave them back up, they get soft and rubbery, right? But can't throw them in the oven for a few minutes, though. Bring that heat back up a little slowly, you know what I'm saying? And now what you let rest for a while, it would have been nasty, right? Let it rest. Put a little heat on it, repurpose it a little bit, add a little more salt. You can enjoy it. But you nuke them if you want to. You think you're just about to bring this back out and go with it. You don't feel like you're chewing on rubber.
Nuke them if you want, you yellow belly ball.
Yeah, it's it's refreshing them, right? You're making them fresh again. But you can't do that too fast sometimes, you know. Some things that you do have to bring back out. That conversation he talked about earlier. He had a tough conversation. He needs to sit on that before he talks to his kids. Well, most tough conversations, you have to revisit them, right? And you can't just serve them back to the person that you was having it with hot, fast. Sometimes you got to ease back into that. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you put them in the oven. If you need it a little faster, you can even put it on broil. Put your little foil paper under it, put it on medium broil, but you better be checking it. You know what I'm saying? Cool. You better be checking it.
Check if you're on broil.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But as you can see, you are now back to another brand new episode of the L.I.T Code, the L.I.T Code podcast, that is, with Edgar Jones, the podcast where the menu is short and sweet, but there's plenty for your mind to eat. I am Courtney Anderson, a.k.a. Big C, a.k.a. Fluff, a.k.a. Courtmeister. A lot of different names, right? I didn't give myself none of them. I earned them, you know what I'm saying, through being. And as I said earlier, that is my partner, cousin, brother, Edgar Jones. And before we even get into all that, I would like to thank everybody who's been calling, everybody who stopped me while I was recently at home and asked, hey man, what y'all been doing? So with the podcast, you know what I'm saying? And thanking us for doing certain things outside of the podcast, but really asking us about this because as Edgar started off, he said, some things don't need to rest too long. We've let it rest, jumping into other endeavors, and those endeavors involve L.I.T, right? They involve what we do, but this is where everything was born, right here on the podcast. The following that we were blessed and fortunate enough to build was built through this first. As far as L.I.T's concerned, now the other following was just us being who we are and having relationships with people and treating people a certain type of way. But then when we bore L.I.T, it ran through the podcast, right? So thank y'all, especially me shout out brother Cooter, brother Cooter out there, Howard Williams, you know what I'm saying? He was one that stopped me. Jackie Hinton was one that asked me. There's a few more people. DJ Big B, shout out to him. He's one of them that brought it up. Man, just thank y'all for reminding us that, hey man, y'all got something y'all need to be heating back up and serving it back to us, right? Now, in this instance, I feel like when we cook this stuff here, you can serve it hot or cold, baby. It's however you want it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to roll it back out to you, and you decide how you want to do it. But we're here. So welcome back. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hand it off to Edge so he can do whatever introduction he wants to do. But from both of us, thank y'all wholeheartedly.
What's understood ain't got to be said, man. You didn't say it. So, no, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. It's always, but I will say it's always good to know and hear from other people, you know, individuals from back at home or somebody that you work with that just give you some words of encouragement and say, hey, man, that and what you did was helpful, or I appreciate that and what you shared with me. So to be able to hear it from you, well, Court, when you shared it with me, it was always that I appreciate that. So, man, I'm ready to just dive straight into it.
Gotcha. Well, dive we may. Merry New Day to everybody. And most people say Happy New Year. I don't say happy. And it ain't no deep reason why I don't. I just like merry. It just sounds like have a Merry Christmas, Merry New Year, Merry birthday. But even though the years changed, historically, before everything was civilized, there wasn't no such thing as a calendar and 30 days in a month and 12 months in a year and all that stuff, somewhere around whenever Caesar decided to organize this stuff. So at the end of December 31st, when it comes to January 1st, we call it a new year. I've seen a lot of people debating on that. Some people say, well, it don't start till the spring because you're coming out of winter when it's cold and ain't nothing producing nothing in springtime, new life, boom. So that's the new year. I'll simplify it for you. If you went to sleep last night, you drifted off into your subconscious world of sleep and dreaming, and you woke up this morning, you had a new day, right? As Egg and I talk, before I say the next word, boom, I got a new moment. New oxygen, and I just made new carbon dioxide, right? Our body produces 200 million new cells every day. So that word in itself, new, is what Egg and I, through us talking before we decided to record, we had a lot of different things we've been thinking about, but due to the season, due to the holidays, due to all this, that word new, it was on us. It was a common theme, right? Historically, Niwu, Niue, these words just meant, they meant fresh, to bring about some of the other words that they anciently meant untried, untested, right? Something that's new, is here. Scientifically, what does that do for us? Well, for one, it stimulates us. It releases endorphins, right? It sparks curiosity. You know what I'm saying? It makes you excited about what's new, right? It's one of my sayings that a new challenge can only be new one time, though, because as humans, after a while, we make new turn into normal, right? And then once we become something, sooner or later, we're just being it, right? And to be means to exist. Becoming means you happening though, right? And everybody gets excited about what's happening, whether you get excited in a good way, like, yeah, or you excited because it's fear, right? This is one thing I know. You put something in new conditions, water, for instance, room temp is water. You put it under extreme conditions that way in the cold, turns to ice. You put it in extreme conditions this way, the hot, it boils, turns to gas, vapors, air, right? You can bring it back down and it's water again. It's the great thing about it. All three of the forms of that element have significance. They have their purpose, right? So when what new does, though, it shows us what him is. Egg and I made an acronym for him and her. Him was hidden in me, her hidden elevator response, right? You same thing, right? But now I've put myself in a new position, or under new pressure, or in new surroundings, and whatever's hidden in me based on what's happening to me, now I'm becoming something else so I can survive in this, right? You hear fight or flight, you hear all this stuff. Edgar works out. We were trying out a new software yesterday to record with. So when I called him to try it out, Mr. Jones had his shirt off. Y'all know Mr. Jones, ex-NFL player, this, that, and the third. But one thing I used to bother Mr. Jones about, I would say, hey, man, you looking a little bird-chested today. Wherever we were when we were younger, Mr. Jones had hit 100 push-ups, right? 10, 20, I don't care if we was in the mall. He'd look at me. Shout out to Lee Lewis. I said, boy, you look like Lee today. And he was like, what? Push-ups, right? When I called him last night, Egg had his shirt off. He said, yeah, I got some chest now. I got under them 125s today, right? There was a time he couldn't do that. The only way he built his body up to do that is that in the weight room, he would put himself under new pressure periodically. So if he couldn't do the hundreds, he might go to 90s, which he's not accustomed to doing. And under that new pressure, as his muscles rested, they said, hey man, Edgar picked up the 90s today, bro. We better do something, because if he's going to start doing that, we have to grow to be able to handle it, right? And as he kept doing that, his body responded. Same ergo, same muscle fibers that were there before. But now, since they're under new pressure, doing new work, they have to do what they have to do and make new fibers to handle this new work. That's the purpose of new. It should be to grow in the positive direction, right? So new year, everybody's gonna have these new resolutions. Some people, tomato, resolution starts with R-E. It means again. That means you're gonna find a solution again. It's the same you. This is one thing I want to give y'all before I let Edgar have it. A lot of times you're like, well, it's me. I'm not really new, or I can't really get a new house or a new car right now. But there's a beautiful word called repurpose or rearrange. Think about this. Story time for y'all. My wife ever so often likes to rearrange the living room, right? Buy new furniture, you got end tables, you got all these different things in there. You get accustomed to this route to where everything sits. The size of the room, square footage of the room never changes. But sometimes she'll take this couch and turn it that way and put this chair over here and move this table over here. And now it seems like we got all this new space. The room looks bigger, right? You take new routes to get through it. You're watching the TV from another angle. It's the same stuff. The power of rearranging it sparks something in your head because now you see new stuff that you didn't notice before, right? That's how powerful this can be if you learn to use it as a tool. It don't always have to be new by definition. Sometimes it just takes some rearranging and repurposing. Bubble wrap. I'll leave that with Edgar. But sometimes it just takes rearranging and repurposes, man. So repurposing, I'm sorry. Welcome to our new episode, man. And thank y'all again.
Yeah, man, y'all process that one, all he just said. Boy, hit y'all so many nuggets. Oh man, it's you said a lot of good stuff. One thing that really resonated with me is growth. And you and I done talked about this, but for the listeners, some may be familiar with this, some may not, but I'm going to share it with you guys. It's called the 4 stages of growth, the 4 stages of transformation. So the first one will be satiation. So satiation will basically be me eating Chick-fil-A fries every day. We're going to keep it on fries since we started with fries. I'm going to keep it on Chick-fil-A fries. I like Chick-fil-A fries. They're great. They awesome. And I eat them every single day, Monday through Saturday, because they don't open on Sunday. So satiation will be what that will be. Second one will be dissatisfaction. So dissatisfaction will be, maybe I don't want to eat these fries every single day. I want to go Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And then as I'm eating the fries on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, Court say something to me about, hey, man, you probably need to slow down on them fries. So one, internally, I say to myself, I only want to eat these fries on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And then Courtney comes say something to me about, hey, you probably need to slow down on them fries due to, let's just say, health benefits. We'll keep it as that. So the first level of satiation pretty much means that it's routine for you. That's what you do. Second level will be dissatisfaction, which is you're starting to notice like, I don't know, but I'm going to continue to keep doing it. Maybe somebody points something out to you about what you're doing, but you really ain't did anything to change it up yet. So third level will be threshold. Enough is enough. So I get to the point that I say, I don't want Chick-fil-A fries Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So that will be threshold. First level satiation, second level is dissatisfaction, third one is threshold, and the fourth one is really important. Court, how many times in sports as an offensive lineman, or maybe you heard someone talk about in sports like a hole opened up for a little bit, like the quarterback said or the running back said, hey, the hole opened up for a little bit, and boom, then it closed. Or maybe in business, you heard somebody to say, man, the opportunity was on the table. They sent it over. They said this is what they want to do. But because I ain't respond back, it closed. They took the offer away. So that's what they will call insight. That's your breakthrough moment. You got insight that I got to do something to change. I got to do something to change. So the first level is satiation, second is dissatisfaction, third level is threshold, and the fourth one is the aha moment. The hole open up, the opportunity is there, it's insight, and I got to do something to change it. Now, here's the thing. If you don't take a step forward to change whatever that is you need to change, because life works in circles. We can go down the rabbit hole about that. You start back at the top at either satiation or dissatisfaction. Man, when I think about a lot of stuff in my life, when I had insight, and because I didn't do anything to change that situation, I would either start back at the top at dissatisfaction or I start back at the top at satiation. So right now, because we're talking about the new year, a lot of you may have that insight of like something got to change. And either you made that decision to change it right away. The first couple of days you've been changing. Congratulations. You may be at threshold though. You may be one of them people that's like, man, I ain't coming to the new year with all this. I came to the new year with enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Enough is enough. Or you may be in dissatisfaction. Or you may be in satiation. The importance of us sharing this is just to build the awareness, having the self-awareness to now ask yourself the question, man, which one of these am I in right now? And if you are an insight, you've had your aha moment that I got to do something to change. What's going to keep you consistent with this change, it's not going to be motivation. It's going to be discipline. And the great individuals I know are built on the other side of what they don't feel like doing. Growth is about discipline. It's about what you do when nobody's watching. Because truly the magic comes through all the stuff you avoided. So now if you are an insight and you started to create that momentum, congrats. Proud of you for that. That's big. However, now let's look at how do I continue to stay disciplined with this? How do I continue to stay disciplined with this and keep that momentum going? That when we're in January now, when we get to March, when we get to February, we still got that ball moving. It's still rolling. It's still rolling.
Yeah. As I said, the stages, those 4 stages are a cycle. Kind of reminds me of old cars, right? We grew up in the country. A lot of people, there was a time when people wanted box caprices. You wanted you a box caprice or a box Impala, maybe even wanted you a bubble, right? Like those 95 models. And there was a want there that needed to be satiated, because satiated, it just means satisfied, right? Something satisfies you. A perfect example for satiation would be a pacifier for a baby when they're crying. To satiate them or satisfy them, you give them that pacifier, and that satisfies whatever the fit is right now. So you want this real bad. Okay, this new year coming in, it's my resolution. I want that new body, right? We used to want that new car. Boom, we get it, right? And there's the excitement of getting it. I got it now. I got me a new car. But then, since it's an old school, you start having some problems here and there, right? That's dissatisfaction now. Now, maybe it wobbles a little bit when I turn this way. It don't always crank right up early in the morning, you know, stuff that comes along with having that old car, right? So now it's dissatisfaction. Threshold going to be, you done got fresh. We about to hit the game. because Ed got a new bubble. We about to hit the game, man. We ain't got fresh. We heading this way, and we break down on 80, right? Dog road. We out here fresh trying to get this car started. We got smut all over us. Threshold, man, enough is enough. I got to do something, right? So we get it pulled down to Mr. RC house, the mechanic. He give you some insight. Hey, man, you got an O-ring blew out. You're going to have to do this, this, and that. You know what I'm saying? Now the insight is there, and now you got to look at the resources you have to see what I'm going to do. Mr. RC tell you I can patch it. Might be able to patch it up. That'll get you by a couple months. You may need, you got a little hole in your radiator. I can patch that, but you might want to keep some fluid in the car with you. Or $300, I'll put a new radiator in for you. Right? Now, use that threshold anyway. I'm tired of this. He gave you the insight. Now you got to decide if you feel like coughing up that money to make this better and fix the problem, or am I just going to patch it and keep moving along, right? Which is probably going to lead to a bigger problem down the road, which is going to start you over again, like Edgar said. Not at well, the patch is going to satisfy you for a little while, right? All right, I'm cool. But month down the road, you about to jump back into dissatisfaction. And when you blow the whole motor up, now you really got to do something. Because you're going to walk or you're going to go get a new car. But guess what? You get the new one sooner or later. What we do is make it normal, right? I had my Dodge Ram. I got a 2013 Dodge Ram. One time when I was at home off the road, my wife was driving. It was storming. 18-wheeler fishtailed on a little bit. She ran through the median, clipped the yield sign, tore the front of my bump off. By the time we got the insurance check, I was back on the road, rolling with that bump off up here in the north where they salt roads and stuff. I just tore the plastic that was hanging off, and everybody I pull up, they be like, man, it's a nice truck, but what happened to your bump? Front bump. I'm like, well, my wife hit this, that, and the third, blase, blase. So after a while, I got tired of people asking about it. I got tired of looking at my wife like, when you going to get it fixed? I had a decision to make. Am I going to get a new truck, or I just go ahead and give me a new grill and stuff? I've been looking at new headlights, tail lights, go all the way through this, rearrange, repurpose the same truck, get everything fixed, all these rust spots taken out, new stuff put in, right? And that put me back into being satisfied. And so far, I ain't dissatisfied with it yet, but sooner or later, it's an old truck. Something's going to happen to put me back in that other stage, right? Edgar started this by talking about, well, first of all, he said discipline is going to do it. And discipline is, remember, we said you can be disciplined the wrong way too. You can sit and do nothing, or you can have small steps of discipline in the right direction that helps you keep this up. I know this is what we do sometimes. You at threshold and you know something needs to be done. You got the insight. Maybe your doctor told you, hey, your blood pressure high, you borderline diabetic. Okay, you're going to have to lose some weight. Well, most of us, the first thing we do is we say, man, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. And you get 3 weeks in, you're working out, you're satisfied, and you step on the scale and you lost 2. Guess what you're about to jump back into? Dissatisfaction again. And this is what dissatisfaction can do. It can either make you more disciplined toward going this way, or it can make you say, man, you know what? Damn, man, I'm going to be all right. I'm just going to go back. All that working, I only lost 2 pounds. I was feeling all right anyway. It's going to lead you back to satisfaction. You better be satisfied again, but in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? You start back eating bad. You get disciplined back to these bad habits that got you there in the first place, which is going to keep you in between too, because you can get stuck between stages too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us find ourselves stuck in those stages, but it's all about the discipline that we have. And that word discipline comes from the same word that disciples come from. What you following and then what you have following you. Well, a lot of people follow Jesus now, right? But we know biblically it was only 12. It's a few, small numbers, you know what I'm saying? Small numbers can lead to big numbers. Small wins can lead to big wins if you stay disciplined in that way and don't overwhelm yourself. Because that's another stage that can be in there too. If we're stretching out, being overwhelmed, which is kind of towards threshold, right? You've overwhelmed yourself with this. The thing about it, when you're talking about health and some things, you can get the threshold, and the insight you get is that it's too late. You know what I'm saying? We gotta. I have my Uncle George, rest in peace. Uncle George had problems out of diabetes and stuff for a while. He jumped between doing right and not, and then they had to amputate his leg at one point. So the insight is we got to get rid of it, right? Sometimes you get to that point. What we're trying to do is give you small little tools that'll help you get to where you can learn and be okay with this process. This 4 stages is gonna happen no matter what, but it's a way for you to keep growing, transforming. Said that word earlier. Optimus Prime's 18-wheeler, right? You've seen the movies Transformers, everybody. I'm sure y'all have seen at least one of them. He's 18-wheeler. He can drive along the road. When it's time for him to fight, he transforms. Guess what? He don't earn no new parts. All he does is repurposes the parts that's already on him. The headlights turn into eyes. The grill sits in his chest. You know what I'm saying? His axles turn into on. Everything is already there. And that's one of the main things I want people. I'm always talking to people about. Everything you need to do these things, to get through these stages, is right there in the mirror, right? I said Edgar was bird-chested when we were younger. He wasn't really. It was just something I used to get him. But now it's it's full of this. It's grooved out. You know, you can see it, but it's still Edgar. He had it there. He needed outside stuff to help him do it, but it was him. We wanted to make a podcast. We were people thinking about doing something, and then we became podcasters. My boy P called me a content creator the other day. I didn't know how I felt about it at first. But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, we've been creating content. In our minds, I'm just coordinating everything you need to become whatever you want to do to happen. We being anyway, but to happen, to become, you have whatever you need to make it happen right there in your face. You just got to transform. So shout out to Edgar for putting those 4 stages. He uses them when he speaks to people. We have videos about that you can go check out. Speaking of checking out things, www.thelitcode.com. It's a website. Our website is live. The Lit hoodie, it ain't live yet, but we have Lit hats. We have some stuff there. We also have more of an insight to what we do on the litcode.com. So do us a favor, go check out the website. If you see anything on there you like, there's a spot where you can holler at us. Just contact us, let us know what you may need. If it's speaking engagements, for workshop, whatever it is, we do have that site up, and you can look for a lot more stuff from us, especially merch, right? Especially, I mean, look at this logo. I got other logos for Lit, but Edgar made this one here, and it's pretty sleek, pretty fly. You know what I'm saying? L.I.T, illuminated in thought, with the flame back here because we want to enlighten, spark thought, right? Remember Wayne used to get on the track, Edgar, and spark that lighter. You knew something was coming, right? So check that out, man. Passing it back to Edge.
Well, it's interesting you say spark, because it's something sparked. It only stays lit for so long. So out of us sparking thought, we also want to talk about application. What can you put, the fuel you put on it to keep it burning? Because it's lit. It's sparked. But it only stays sparked for so long unless you have the proper things around it, unless you put and give it the proper fuel to keep it burning. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is writing. And it really ties back to like all the stuff we're talking about with the goals, the new year. One of the things, the great NFL players I've been around, the great coaches I've been around, the great leaders I've been around, the one thing they constantly doing is assessing on a day-to-day basis. In a week, before we get ready to play on Sundays in the NFL, we are studying tons and tons of studying tons of football film. Now, a lot of different reasons on why studying film is important, but one of the reasons why it is to be able to study yourself, to be able to look at yourself, to be able to look at what you're doing right, how can you improve, maybe something you're struggling with that you need to get better on. So being able to have that self-awareness of yourself and the things you're doing. So the lean egg is a writing acronym I came up with. Writing is something I've been doing for quite some time. Came up with this acronym called the lean egg. The L is what am I learning about myself? The E is what's one thing I'm excited about today. The A is what's one thing I'm avoiding. I've been avoiding this and I really need to go take care of this, like right now. The N is what's one thing I need to do. The E is what's one thing I want to exhibit to the world and to the people around me. Like what's one thing I want to exhibit to my kids? I want to show my kids. I want to exhibit and show the people I work with, or maybe my significant other, or maybe my neighbor. The G is what's one thing I'm grateful for. Man, I'm grateful for this. And gratitude, it's a muscle. We got to rep it out. We don't naturally just practice gratitude. So you have to rep gratitude out. And the G is what's one thing I got to stop doing. So it's the lean egg. Couple different ways you do it. I tell you how I do it. In the morning, sometimes I go through the whole lean egg. I like getting up early in the morning. I got a lot of time early in the morning because the house ain't woke up yet. And it just gives me time to process and sit there and do my writing and do some of the things I do. And writing is one of them. So sometimes I do the whole lean egg. Sometimes I just do the L. The L on one day, the E on the next day, the A the next day, the N the next day. Sometimes I just do the lean in one day, the L-E-A-N. I found that the more you do this, and even if you started with just one letter, or say let's two letters, it'll start to reveal other things to you and show you other things about yourself. Like, what are you learning about yourself? Today I learned about myself that when it's time to have difficult conversations or tough conversations with one of my homies, I don't like doing that. Well, why is that? I feel like every time I get ready to talk to him and have that difficult conversation, I get mad and I want to act a fool. But why is that? Could you take a better approach? So really this framework is a different questions to allow me to assess myself. And when we have these goals and these things we want to do, and I know you're going to do it. I know you're going to knock it down. This year is going to be different. Being able to put something in place on a day-to-day basis, or let's say Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or let's say Tuesdays and Thursdays, that you go sit down and ask yourself these questions. Maybe you can go with the lean egg. What am I learning about myself? What am I excited about? What am I avoiding? What's one thing I need to do? What's one thing I want to exhibit to the world? What's one thing I'm grateful for? Or what's one thing I got to stop doing? But let's just say you said, Edgar, what if you said what's three questions I can ask myself? Every day. What would that be? I'll say this. What's one thing you're doing well in life, man? Just what's one thing you're doing well? That would be the first question. Second one is, what's one thing you need to improve on? Because we all need to improve. I got to improve. Courtney got to improve. We always can improve and get better. And the third question would be, what's one thing you're grateful for? I digress and go back for a sec, Court, because you talked about the weight side of it. Let's say you went to the doctor. Doctor says you need to drop 100 pounds. You was like, shit, I'm about to drop this 100 pounds in a month, doc. And in your head, you really believe that. All your energy and everything you doing at that moment is, I'm about to knock this 100 pounds down in a month. Well, let's just say Tuesday morning, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, get to the end of the week, all you lost is 2 pounds. You had this expectation that, man, I supposed to lose more than that this week because I did all these things. However, what if you said, man, what am I grateful for? Man, I'm grateful for these 2 pounds. That's taking time to be grateful for what has happened. It also can give you enough, a little bit more momentum, a little bit more fuel to go into the next week and continue to stay consistent and disciplined at what you're doing. And here's what I'll say about gratitude as well. If we're not being intentional on practicing gratitude for getting up, working out, or let's say taking a better approach when it comes to eating. Let's say you finally get to 6 months down the road and you did lose that 100 pounds. Because you didn't practice gratitude of the small things in month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, and now we got into month 6. When you lose those 100 pounds in month 6, you ain't really going to be grateful for it at that moment in time. Because gratitude hadn't been a part of your daily life. So when you having and practicing gratitude for those small victories and those small moments and incremental wins, it grows over time. If I keep putting quarters in the bucket for 2 years straight, it's a quarter. But if I do that for 2 years straight, that's gonna be a nice size bucket to me. So practicing gratitude. So if you, let's say, I don't want to do the lean egg. Those 3 questions. As you're on this journey now, man, what's something I'm doing well? What's something I need to improve on? And what's one thing I'm grateful for? Get you a pen and paper, write it down. You can go on your phone, type some notes to yourself. But ultimately, all this is doing is helping with us build more self-awareness of ourselves. That's one of my self-awareness tools I got put into place for me in the morning, the lean egg. Like I said, some days I do the lean, some days I do the lean egg. If I really want to take my time, sometimes I just work through one letter. I may sit on that letter for 3 days, Court, and just look at it, and I look at it. And the more you get in a better understanding of yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it will allow you to build confidence over time on how you should move throughout life when it comes to dealing with people, when it comes to, I probably don't need to go in there and say that and do that. Because now you've just built self-awareness in as just a daily routine thing you do.
You said a lot of good stuff. You ended it in a great place too. You talked about self and awareness, and then you said the good, bad, and the ugly. That understanding right there is what's gonna help you a lot, because all of those are you. There's more than one you. There's this side that understands that I need to do something, and once you satisfy that side, later on that same side that needed that can also become the side that you need to do something new with. We're always in this constant battle internally between our light side and our dark side, and some of us have some in between us, right? That are battling for our attention, battling for control in our lives. And as you start to become more successful at different levels, as you start to knock down these goals, if you're not practicing what Edgar told you about gratification, about being grateful, that other side will tell you ain't done nothing, right? And it'll keep you in a constant base Oh, well, don't nobody. You did all that. You lost 100 pounds. This how people are. If you out there basing your life on what people think, somebody gonna tell you, boy, you got too little. You must be smoking that stuff. You must got that stuff, boy. You caught that stuff from somebody. And in your mind, now you thinking, man, I did all that for nothing. Your other side telling you, hey man, you did all that work, all this work you're doing to maintain this, which is another great word, maintenance, because it takes work to maintain. It's a couple things you don't want to fool yourself about. You don't want to, gratitude is going to help you understand that the path wasn't easy. You put a lot of work in to get here. And it's going to take a lot of work to keep this up. Constant maintenance. And the way you have to maintain stuff is sometimes you have to change some parts out. Sometimes you got to keep it clean. You got to make sure you're getting your oil changed on a custom basis. Maintenance takes work too. That's one thing you don't want to fool yourself into thinking that okay, I got this goal, I made it. It ain't gonna take work. That's where comfort becomes a gateway drug. In my book, I talk about it being a gateway drug because it leads to other stuff like laziness, contentment, right? The lack of awareness, right? And then you get to where you kind of find yourself in a space where you're not so grateful for where you're at. That other person, that other side of you, it's like a boss on a video game, right? We used to play video games, and at the end of each level, if you were playing Sonic the Hedgehog, Crash Bandicoot, Metal Gear Solid, whatever you was playing, what was the game with Lara Croft on that we used to play all the time? Resident Evil, right?
Yeah.
At the end of each level, the higher you get, there's this boss, this bigger. It knows all your moves. You got this much power left. His power bar going all the way across the screen. Everything you trying, you can't beat it. It's hard. It's real hard to beat it. In life, it's you. It's the other side. It knows all your moves. It knows what you like. It knows what you don't like. It knows what to say to put you in a certain mind state, right? And you trying to whoop on it. And if you're not careful, if you hadn't been doing these steps in the lean egg, what you've probably been doing in the opposite direction is feeding this boss. That's why your power bar like this. Some stuff you didn't stop and get along the way, right? To have you strong enough to beat it. As you start playing the game and become more aware though, when we used to play these games, you know it's certain stuff that I'm going to have to avoid. Maybe I don't need to fight this dude right here. Before I get to the boss, it's a way around it. There's this box over here I need to hit and get this power potion to give me a boost. You'll know those little steps you got to take to beat that boss. So the first thing I would say when we start into this is first being comfortable in discomfort and being comfortable and aware that it's two sides of you. It's two sides that exist. And most people think they're crazy or something when why am I having these thoughts? Call them intrusive thoughts. Why are they here? Because it's you. It's the side of you was born with, Jack. You know what I'm saying? And our ultimate goal over time is to figure out how do we balance this out first and then tip the scales to the side of the light. Those tools that Edgar just gave you, that lean egg, one thing about actual lean eggs, you eat egg whites, they're full of nutrients you need to grow healthy, in a healthy way, right? So he's giving you the stuff you need to feed the light side, right? So you'll be strong enough to defeat the dark side because it's showing up on every level. It's you. It's a part of you. I climbed this mountain. I've gotten here. Cool. We can rest now. And everybody likes to be comfortable. Cool. You can be comfortable, but just know that what you need to spark growth is going to usually be putting yourself in a place of discomfort. If Edgar's getting ready for another half marathon or something, he's going to intensify the workouts he already does because he needs his heart rate to be at a certain level. He needs his wind to be at a certain level. So to get him ready, he's going to put himself in uncomfortable situations to make him comfortable during the hard part. Balance is law that can't be transgressed. So once you become aware that discomfort has its place, right? I always say, set a goal, boom, hit the goal, celebrate it. take the finish line, pick it up, throw it ahead again. You ain't got to try to throw your arm out of place throwing it. Just throw it a little further ahead. You know what I'm saying? Go get it again. Because now you're repeating this cycle. I'm celebrating it again. Let me pick it up. And each time, each step is evidence that you can get there. People say don't look back. I disagree. Sometimes you need to look back because you need to measure where you came from and be grateful about every step that it took to get here. In order for you to lose those 100 pounds, which pound in that 100 don't count? Which one? Because if you take one away, you only lost 99. So which pound in the 100 don't count? Every step counts. And you got to be aware of that other side. You got to be aware of this other thing that we have, and it's hard to do now, social media. Comparison, right? You comparing yourself to somebody else that did lose their 100 pounds in 4 months, right? And they posted the whole journey. They showing you by month 4, I lost this much, and you had month 4 and you hadn't lost that much. You got to realize that everybody's like a fingerprint, right? Your other side will trick you into thinking ain't nothing happening. You know why? When you start working out, that scale don't really tell the story, because as Edgar knows, as I'm losing fat, I'm building muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. Your body's changing. Your pants fitting different. Your clothes fitting different. But when you step on the scale, you think you hadn't done nothing, but you have. All your body's doing is replacing the bad with better. But if you're not aware, you're not grateful. You didn't say, hey man, I got in these pants I couldn't fit. You weren't grateful for that. You didn't show gratitude for that, right? And so now when you get on the scale and you don't see the pounds off, you're telling yourself I hadn't done nothing. Now you're taking away G's. I ain't getting better, right? I ain't grateful. I ain't getting better. Now the lean egg working against you. And now you want to throw the lean egg away and just go get you a Snicker bar, right?
Yeah, like,
and you know what they say Snicker bars do? Satisfy you.
Yeah. You yellow belly varmint. Get your lean egg. Go and get a Snicker. Tell me what that stands for.
Yeah. Because even as we saying this stuff, there's another side of you. That other side is saying, man, what Edgar know about your life? Hey, he talking about a lean egg. There's a side of it that's saying, what how Courtney gonna talk about losing weight? He 350 pounds. You know what I'm saying? What he know? I get it. That other side talks to you. But once you're comfortable knowing that other side's there, you can learn how to defeat them. Because it's studying you. The dark side studies the light. The light don't usually like to study the dark side because they don't want to believe it's a part of it. And yellow belly varmint can't be a part of me, scumbag.
Look, I'll say this, man. We're gonna get this. There's been enough of them to chew on. That's actually, you said something earlier, like, man, what they gonna know about me? What Courtney know about me? I mean, that's pretty valid. Like, you can actually here's what I would say. What's the worst that can happen if you try it? Like, it don't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we do know there's other stuff that haven't been working. So what's the worst that can happen if you try it? Like, it worked? Look, I ain't telling you the lean or the egg gonna work before the lean. What I am telling you is, what I am saying is that anything that we talking to y'all about, number one, we're giving you permission to ask us how do we apply it to our lives. As a leader, anything I do in life, if I'm talking to a group of people about something they should do, in that moment I'm giving them permission, and I should give them permission to say, well, hey, how do you apply this to your life? You talking about getting better, you talking about these things you talk about, how do you actually do it? So that's the first thing. Number two is, and this may actually probably should be number one, but that is, we'll never talk to you about something we ain't been applying to our lives. So I'm telling you this based off not something I saw on Pinterest, not because I was death scrolling 2 days ago and I saw somebody talking about it. This has been through repetition, Jack. Like that. Like if I need to take screenshots of notebooks and pieces of paper that I have been putting this work in and actually trying this, and I've seen the benefits of how it's been very helpful for me, especially during some of my dark times. It's been very, very helpful. So anything that we recommend and we talk about, and we always we're cautious about what we decide to say, hey, try this, or hey, do this. Because the first thing that needs to happen is I need to be doing it. Edgar needs to be doing whatever that thing is. And as I'm doing it, I'm assessing it to see like, dang, this really works. I like this. I'm gonna switch this up. I'm gonna adjust this. And then after I've had enough time of doing it, then I'm going to go speak to whoever that person is or that group of people about it. And here's the other thing, man. You ever had a joker talk to you about something and you know he ain't doing it, you be like, he doing that. That yellow belly foreman ain't doing that. Man, he ain't did none of that he talking about. Or you had somebody talk to you about something, you be like, shit, right, boy. You gotta say nothing else. I know it. Because it's a light about it. It's something that you can feel it on them. You know what I'm saying? So it's more than words. It's about internally us knowing about what we're doing as men, like we know we're doing this, and then through that, being able to bless somebody else with it. So take it if you want. If not, hey, man, it ain't for everybody. Chick-fil-A ain't for everybody. McDonald's ain't for everybody. One of my good homies, he loved Ben and Jerry ice cream. I don't like it. This ain't for everybody. So hopefully out of this was something that was helpful for you. And if not, man, hey, I did what I was supposed to do.
Basically, man, we just giving you a recipe, a new recipe, right? And by us doing that, I'm sure a lot of people have seen these recipes all over Facebook and TikTok, people making stuff, making it look good, right? But I may make something and it's a lot of cinnamon in it, and you might be allergic to cinnamon, right? So all you do is repurpose, rearrange, you tweak it to make it happen for you. I love pecan pie. I love my Aunt Olume's pecan pie and my grandmother's, but grandmother uses light K-Roll syrup, and Aunt Olume uses dark. Most of the time, I'm more in the mood for Aunt Olume's. I like grandma. I love Aunt Olume's. Only one little ingredient that's different. Also, Aunt Olume crumbles her pecans up, but grandma leaves hers whole. I like the way grandma do her pecans a little better, but the taste in Aunt Olume's, what I do is take both of them and make it fit for me. That's how we want you to do, right? Be grateful for these ingredients we've given you, and use them to your liking, right? I'll let Edgar tell it because he's told it on video already, and we'll close out with that. But there's a story about an old farmer who had to preach over for breakfast one morning, right? And he showed you how gratitude can help you out a little bit. And I'll let Edge get that to y'all, and we'll be out, man.
Hold on, what's that you talking about again?
The story about the preacher visiting the old farmer.
My laptop freezing for a second. My laptop freezing?
Nah, you good on mine.
Oh. No, it was this pastor that went over to one of his members of the house. It was this pastor that went to one of his members' house because she invited him over for dinner. So he gets to the house, and right before they get ready to eat, the husband was like, Father, he was like, Pastor, do you mind if I pray? The husband was like, Pastor, do you mind if I pray? So the pastor was like, yeah. So the husband was like, God, I thank you for the salt. It's sharp. I don't enjoy it, but it has its purpose. He said, Father, I also want to thank you for the flour. It's messy and it's bland, but it's necessary. He said, Father, I also want to thank you for the sugar. Even though it can hurt my teeth sometimes, I really appreciate it. He said, Father, I also want to thank you for the butter. It's heavy and it's greasy, but it's essential. The pastor confused, he kind of opened his eye and looked up, wondering like, man, where is this man going with all this? And the husband finished the prayer by saying, when I look at all these ingredients individually, they may not all look great, but when you mix them together and put them underneath the right heat, they turn into some warm, flaky biscuits. Thank you for teaching me the things I don't like can work together to create something amazing. And man, similar to that story, dude, when it comes to some of the things we don't like, whether it's making tough decisions, getting up early in the morning, going to get that workout in, failures, setbacks. Alone, a lot of these experiences can feel overwhelming. You can feel bad about them, but if you can look at it the right way, it can shape us to be better and stronger individuals.
Hey,
just
take
like
the
making them
ingredients you
biscuits,
need,
man.
Put them together how you want them, man, and make your biscuits. So
Make
L.I.T
your
Code,
biscuits.
man. And we out.